Hi, everyone. Ernie Anastas here. I want to take a moment to talk to you about something truly special. Shriners Children's. For more than 100 years, they have helped over 1.5 million kids with complex medical issues receive the most amazing care anywhere. Now here's Keshi's journey with Shriners Children's.
Shriners Hospitals for Children gave me back my mobility in every way. I got here in a wheelchair, and 2 years into my treatment, I was ready to go back to school and finish high school.
For the first time, Kechi was able to look up. And we take these things for granted, but he gave her hope. He gave her life back.
Once they realized how much I love music, it became a part of my healing. It became a part of my therapy.
I'm calling on 77 WABC's audience to help provide hope and healing by donating to Shriners Children's. Call 1-800-276-8007. That's 1-800-276-8007. Or go online to loveshriners.org to give.
With Lululemon, the real gift happens when they're living in it. When you give them the softest loungewear set, the real gift is this. And this. And this. This holiday, Lululemon makes it easy to give a gift that goes beyond. Open the moment. Shop now at Lululemon.com.
If there's anyone who can take a situation like reducing our federal government, paring it back, and actually doing the right thing here, I believe it's Donald Trump. And I do think people are so excited about this. Look, over the past several years, our country has watched as our money has gone overseas to fight wars that, we don't even involve ourselves in and don't want to be involved in. Watched as we've spent, I think, Elon himself said the other day, $150 billion a year on illegal immigrants who have come here to this country. This is something that people are desperate to see happen. And I actually believe this is the time. If things happen in the way that I think so many of us are hopeful to see happen, I believe we are upon the most transformational period in our country's history, basically since our inception. Donald Trump calls it the golden age of America, but it starts with DOGE. It starts with giving the taxpayers, more for their money and not wasteful spending, not the fraud, not the abuse. I actually believe we're going to see some incredible things happen.
In my mind, I'm gone to Carolina. Can't you see the sunshine? Can't you just feel the moonshine? Ain't it just like a friend of mine to hit me from behind? Yes, I'm gone to Carolina in my mind.
Miss Wilmington, 2004, Lara Trump. I'm reading stories, I'm hearing things about Lara maybe being a politician in Florida, maybe in her own native North Carolina. That was her on Fox News talking about DOGE. And she is back. She's been regularly for about 2 years. My favorite Trump, Lara Trump. Good morning. How are you?
Oh, wow. We're buttering me up with the favorite Trump and Carolina in my mind. I like it. We should do more of that shit.
I know you love that. You named your daughter after that song.
I sure did.
I know you did. So I'll tell you something funny, then we'll get to the serious stuff. So last time you were on, somebody sends me a direct message. They go, why do you keep telling everybody that you're so close with Lara Trump? I go, what do you mean? She's on every 2 weeks. We texted each other. Her husband is a good friend of mine. You go, no, you can't be good friends with her because you don't say her name right. I go, what are you talking about? He goes, Eric is on the show. The president's on the show. They call her Laura. You call her Lara. I go, there's no you in her name. I don't care what Eric says. It's got to be Lara. What is your first name, Mrs. Trump?
Oh, my gosh. It's Lara. So I was named after the movie/book Dr. Zhivago, which was very famous back in like the 1960s. And I think my parents were big fans. They loved the name Lara, Lara. But look, Sid, I have been called so much worse than Laura, than Lara. Those are fine with me. I'll take that all day long. That's a win for me.
That's funny. That's true. You're right. You probably have been called worse. So before we get to DOGE, last time you were on, I was pressing you on this potential that you would replace Marco Rubio as Secretary of State, although DeSantis may be leaving Florida, too. Looks like a bunch of positions may be open down in your home state. Are you still considering that? Is that still on the table? Where are we with Lara replacing Marco Rubio?
The more I feel like I try to narrow things down, the more I feel like people throw my way, Sid. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's all about, but it's flattering nonetheless. But yeah, listen, I'm very open to whatever the next steps possibly look like and the next big thing in my life. I want to be helpful for Donald Trump and his administration. I want to be able to serve the American people. I have the best example of that in my father-in-law. And I've been really proud to serve as co-chair of the RNC for the past almost year during this really critical and crucial election that we just had. So to answer your question, I still don't know exactly what direction I'm going to go, but I'm really fortunate that I have a lot of options, and I want to consider the best thing for the country, for my father-in-law, and for my family overall. And when I have something to say, I'll let you know.
All right, fair enough. And you did an amazing job. Still, the RNC, I can't credit you and Watley enough. It was such a disaster. No disrespect to Rana back in 2020, a complete disaster. And you guys righted the ship. One more on your potential future in politics. I know you're waiting for the right opportunity, but we talked about Florida. But I'm reading an awful lot about Lara Trump up against, you ready for this? Tillis and Roy Cooper. 2026, your native Tar Heel state, where Bill Belichick may come back to coach football for the Tar Heels at North Carolina. Are you considering a run maybe in your native state?
Well, the funny thing with that is, I went to NC State, and our rivals is the University of North Carolina, Carolina, right? The Tar Heels.
Well, let's see, my wife grew up in Charlotte. She grew up in New York, but she spent time in Charlotte. Danielle taught me this: Wake is fake. It was Duke. Wait, Duke is puke. Wake is fake. But the team we hate is NC State. Go Tar Heels.
See. So if Belichick goes there, I don't know that he's going to be invited to Mar-a-Lago. At least not while I'm there. I'm just kidding. I would never. Look, I live in Florida right now, and that's where I've been a resident for 3.5 years. So I think the most likely thing is that I would serve in some capacity for the state of Florida, or potentially in the state of Florida. But look, nothing is off the table. I do think that Tom Tillis has wavered a little bit and been disappointing to a lot of Republicans on several fronts thus far. So I don't think it would be out of the question that people would be very apt to replace him with someone they thought maybe held better values for them. But right now I live in Florida, and I don't have any current plans to move fully back to North Carolina, although it is my home state, and it is what I consider to actually be home, and I'll be there for Christmas. So I'm currently not considering that, but very flattered to be.
Well, yeah, they're writing about it. Yeah, they are writing about it. Oh, so your mom and dad is still in Wilmington?
They sure are. They're in Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina. Same house they came home from the hospital to, Sid.
No kidding. The same house.
Yeah.
I know.
I'm very lucky. They can never move. They can never move. They know.
But isn't that like a fun, warm, cozy Christmas? The bedroom where you grew up as a little girl, you're back there now, and all this great stuff is happening. But to be back there, to me, that's what Christmas is all about. No?
Oh, it's the epitome of Christmas. It's the thing that I look forward to all year. When I get back to my parents' house on Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina, and I take a deep breath in, it's salty sea air. It is, you can smell the seagrass.
Nice.
That's when I know I'm home, and that's when I can fully exhale. And I'll tell you what, we're ready to do a big exhalation after November 5th and after all the crazy stuff that we've all been through. So very much looking forward to getting back there.
No, you guys deserve a vacation. Last one in North Carolina, we know they went through that horrendous hurricane not that long ago. Once again, an opportunity for the Democrats to step up. They failed miserably. Once again, an opportunity for your father-in-law to step up. Bang, he hits a grand slam home run. But they were still finding people in trees in Asheville. My wife and I love the Grove Park Inn. What's the latest in North Carolina?
Yeah, I mean, look, no one expected this to be an overnight recovery. It was very challenging. I think you're right. There were a lot of missteps made. And, in the wake of hearing about the FEMA directions being given to skip houses that have Trump signs, to make sure that you go around those people, that kind of stuff is very upsetting. I hope it upsets every person in this country, whether or not you voted for Donald Trump. But they're still coming back. I think they got on their feet as quickly as possible. The people of the western part of North Carolina are very resilient, but there still is a lot of work to do. And in this holiday season, I hope people consider donating to places like Samaritan's Purse, who was on the ground there working really hard from the moment that disaster happened, trying to help people get their feet back under them. This is a time of year of giving and making sure we're thinking of other people. So I would just encourage people to seek out, if you want to donate, maybe on behalf of folks, for gifts to charities that have been very instrumental in rebuilding that part of the state.
So I'm not sure what you were doing before you came on with me, but I've got Fox News on in my studios, no audio, obviously. But I see Melania, you know her pretty well, and she actually surprised first responders and the veterans on Fox and Friends. It's great to see her. Her book is doing great. It's her first interview since you guys won. Your father-in-law still hasn't done an interview outside of being on stage last night on Long Island. But she was talking an awful lot about Barron, about how Barron at this point, all of his stuff goes viral on the internet. He's a brilliant kid, your brother-in-law. Great-looking kid, all those things. So it looks like the Trump family is starting to come out now after spending the last couple of weeks kind of immersed in building this team, yes?
Yeah, well, you can't get rid of me, even if you try. I turn on a TV and I'll be right
every day. Every day, I love it. Maria Bartiromo pops in. There's Lara. She's great.
I'm all over the place. But yeah, look, and I think that there's no doubt after 2020, that election, and really what they put, not just my father-in-law, but our whole family, and I'll put Melania right up there alongside of him through, over the past several years, has been very challenging. And I think she's felt a need to kind of, say to herself a little bit, protect herself, protect Barron to a certain extent. And it does feel like there's been a big shift in this country. And I think we all feel it. It's not just for our family. It's that people can breathe again, that a weight has been lifted off our shoulders for America, for the world. We feel like the right things are going to happen. And so I love seeing her out there like that. I think it's great. I think you're going to see a lot more of her. And I think she's ready to retake her role as First Lady. And I'll tell you one thing, the White House Christmas decorations, no shade to Joe Biden, but nobody did it better than Melania Trump. I don't know what the circus theme is this year. True. It's a little weird, a little upsetting, but okay.
It's weird. What is that theme? What is that? They got to go. We got to get them out of there. They're killing us. But Melania does do good. And I can't wait to go to next year's Hanukkah party with Jared Kushner. I can tell you that. I do. There you go. Oh, it's going to be big fun. I do want to get to the DOGE stuff, though. You were talking about it yesterday, and people are excited about the possibility of Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy shaving trillions of dollars. You talked about it eloquently. You're exactly right. The deficit, spending money on illegals, bad wars, all that stuff. But if we're going to have an honest conversation, Lara, which we always do, you and I, there are some that say that eventually the enthusiasm of this win and the relationship with the president is going to start to wane just a little, and maybe Elon, more than Vivek, is not going to be in this for the long haul. What are your thoughts?
I disagree with that completely. I think Elon Musk is, first of all, one of the most brilliant people and minds of our time. You can't look at the things this guy has done and think anything else. And we're so lucky that he's been on our team and that he wants to do the right things for this country. This isn't even his birth country, but Elon Musk is smart enough to understand what it means to have America at the top, to have a strong country, and to keep our country going in perpetuity. And that's why DOGE is so important to him. There's a finite amount of time attached to DOGE. They say that on America's 250th birthday, which is July 4th, 2026, they want to be finished with this whole program. They don't want to be there forever. Usually you have these government programs and people are like, yeah, we'll have it for 5 years. It lasts forever. It's still there, whatever it might be. You just take a look at the government, more blow. We know how it usually goes. I think that he's developed a really great relationship with my father-in-law, and I've seen it firsthand. Elon was at Thanksgiving with us. People joked he's another member of our family. I even joked with him about it a little on Thanksgiving. Yep. But they really understand one another, and I think the fact that he's not trying to come in and take over anybody's role. He's there for a very specific reason. He wants to get things done. He wants to be efficient about it, and he wants to get in and out quickly. I think that their relationship is going to be great throughout the course of this because, listen, this is a necessity for America. This is what Donald Trump brings to the table. It is not business as usual. It is business as we need. And I think that that's one of the reasons people love Donald Trump. He's not a standard politician. He doesn't surround himself with those type of swampy people. He brings in the brilliant minds of Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy. And I think we're so lucky as a country to have these people working on our behalf for free, by the way, Sid. I'm very excited about it, and it's all going to be for the benefit of the American people.
You know, on the way out, the other thing about your father-in-law, and I've experienced this, is he's loyal. So many years they'd be like, oh, Trump doesn't care about anybody but Trump. You know, they still say stuff like that. He's so loyal. A lot of guys would not want to go through the Pete Hegseth stuff. Even Gates. I mean, Gates eventually just dropped out on his own, but your father-in-law doesn't say boo. He's like, come on. I know for a fact he spoke to Hegseth yesterday. He said, come on, let's get this thing done in the face of all this controversy. So even with some of these picks, Lara, we come to see once again, despite what Anthony Scaramucci or John Kelly say, just how loyal Donald J. Trump really is.
And he is. He never, first of all, this is a man who never forgets anything. He will remember the most minute detail of a conversation he had with somebody 30 years ago. And it's actually kind of shocking to see it happen. But I've been witness to this. Something that happened 15 years ago, he'll get it exactly right whenever he repeats the story back to people. But he remembers who's been good to him, and he wants to do the right thing for them too. And I've actually seen him in many different situations, not specifically to do with the government, but where someone is trying to sway him on his perspective of an individual, and he says, no, you know what, that he's a good person, she's a good woman, whoever it is, and, you know, we need to do the right thing there. This is a principled man. This is a man who I think we all saw on July 13th. His life was spared by the grace of God. He understands the opportunity he has right now, and I think he has this incredible discernment to choose people to serve in these positions who he knows will execute these jobs. And whether it's Pete Hegseth or anybody else that he might want to nominate for these positions, he does want to stand by them. He does believe that they're the right person to do these jobs. And it won't be a typical cabinet. It'll be a very unique Donald Trump-esque cabinet, but that's what we're going to need to save this country, Sid. And no one knows it better than him. And he always truly, at the end of the day, wants to do the right thing. Don't forget, Donald Trump was the guy who was doing things like paying off people's mortgages, who stopped to help him on the Jersey Turnpike back in the early 80s whenever his limousine got a flat tire. Donald Trump is the guy who provided jerseys in perpetuity for, I forget if it was the Bronx or Queens kids basketball team because he knew they couldn't afford it for the next several seasons. He doesn't talk about these things. He doesn't talk about making sure that he got Nelson Mandela a plane to flying back from South Africa to the United States, because he doesn't want the credit for that. Despite what you'll hear about this man, he does want the right thing to happen. And whenever it comes to being loyal to people who deserve it, who've been loyal to him, believe me, that is at the core of who Donald Trump is.
Last one, and this one's personal to me, and I guess it's personal to you. He's also very forgiving, okay? There was a time, and he knows this, where I wasn't his biggest supporter. Now I'm his biggest, okay? He doesn't care. J.D. Vance said some really nasty stuff about him. He's his VP. And I got the mayor here in New York City. Now, listen, Lara, you left this city. And you said to me, if we have an honest conversation again, that you don't like what's going on in this city. And you're right. So you moved to Florida where it's gorgeous. Your father-in-law must see that, too. I know he was here last night for the Patriot Awards. He can't be happy with what's going on in New York City. The crime, the filth, the dirt, the illegals. Yet, almost every day in the news, we hear in New York about this blossoming relationship between your father-in-law and the mayor, who I must say I don't dislike, but is certainly partly responsible for the issues in this city. And Trump supporters in New York don't understand. They understand the kindred spirit, the DOJ going after both of them, blah, blah, blah. But they're a little worried that your father-in-law is giving the mayor too much time when, in fact, he's partly at fault for destroying this city. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, but don't we want to see the right things happen, Sid? Don't we want the greatest city on the face of the earth to come back.
Yes.
I can tell you no one wants that more than Donald Trump himself. And maybe it means he has a great relationship with Eric Adams, and maybe it means that they assist one another in bringing back, New York City and what it once was and what it still can be. And I think that it's a great thing. You had Joe and Mika from Morning Joe show up at Mar-a-Lago. Who would have ever thought we would see that day? Right. But Donald Trump himself said, listen, I give people second chances. I give them third chances. If you want to do the right thing, even if it just started today, then he wants you on his team. He wants to make sure that he puts you in a position to do the right thing. And maybe it's that Eric Adams just needed a little bit of extra support. I would love to see New York City come back. Donald Trump would love to see New York City come back. And, yeah, I do think they have some similarities in maybe some lawfare type activity that they can commiserate on. But it's more than that. It's that I think he knows that this is a man who maybe in Eric Adams got into politics, didn't know exactly how to operate things. Now he wants to do the right thing, and it's never too late to do the right thing. And Donald Trump wants to be there to support him.
What a great answer. Yeah, you really are something else. You know that, Trump? You are something else. That was a great answer. It's great to catch up with you. Maybe we'll do it one more time, hopefully, before you go home for Christmas. But either way, thank you for stopping by today. We love you, and we'll talk again very soon. Thank you.
All right, my friend. Thank you.
God bless you. There's Lara Trump. She's so good. It's unbelievable how good she is. We'll take a short break. When we get back, we'll talk to Mr. Rockland County, the king of Rockland County, another great congressman, my buddy Mike Lawler, on the Friday edition of Sid and Friends in the Morning.
In my mind, I'm gone to Carolina. Can't you see the sunshine? Can't you just feel the moonshine? Ain't he just like a friend of mine to hit me from behind? Yes, I'm gone to Carolina in my mind.
Americans love using their credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But D.C. politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you pay the price. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com.